This guy. Hi everybody, welcome to an episode second. This is actually the second podcast I've done in this formal setting. So welcome to Angela Pizarro, who is a sound therapist among many other things, and we are planning to organize a synthesis of sound therapy and hypnosis here at Playful Growth. And today I'm going to ask Angela some really difficult questions. So Angela, hi.
Hi.
Tell me about sound therapy. Why sound therapy? What's so good about sound therapy? Why should we be therapizing ourselves with sound?
Well, basically, everything is energy, everything is vibration, and sound healing therapy is working with the theory that when we are unbalanced, the vibrations are not working properly in our body, but when you are being under a sound healing session, your blockages and your unbalanced frequencies are getting into tune. Mm-hmm. I like to say a kind of an example. So if you imagine a river and you have a lot of stones, water won't flow freely. Mm-hmm. With our body, it's kind of the same. If we have a lot of blockages, energy isn't flowing properly. So when you are in this chaotic lifestyle, waking up early or late,
one or the other, not waking up at the time you're supposed to wake up at, basically. Yeah.
No, you have a busy day, you have to work, you have to have time for yourself, do your things, and you are in a kind of everyday life in a paced,
high pace.
Yeah, all the time. So, of course, we are having unbalance even if we don't know where are they.
So the imbalances then, you say there's imbalance and blockages. They're energetic blockages, emotional blockages, or where do these blockages come from? Do many people have lots of blockage and other people, like myself, blockage free?
Well, we are having different body types. So we have the physical one. I'm seeing your physical body, but we have also the etheric and the spirit body as well. So, of course, if you have, I don't know. Okay, if now I hit my face, I'm gonna
yeah.
I'm gonna have a physic, like
mark,
but I've done it by myself. Mm-hmm. But when you are not having an external thing coming around to you, but you are having, for example, a cramp, that cramp is not coming from your body. It's originated in other physical body of yourself. Mm-hmm. So it could be etheric, in your aura, or in the other level that is more related to the soul. But when you are having, for example, a physical pain, of course, you can heal that with sound healing, because at the end, it's just vibration. And if we could open with a microscope like this glass and this tea, we could see that the waves, they are separated, even though we are seeing that in that form. But in the microcosm, we can...
Microcosm of our body?
Yeah. We can direct that frequencies to the parts that they need the most.
Okay, I like this. And I like all of them. So you direct the frequencies and energies to the parts of the body that need the most unblocking.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe you could talk me through how would that work? How do you direct or target, or how does this whole sound therapy process work?
Well, depending on the therapist, each person is working different, but in my case, I can feel when when the ball is not singing in the resonance that it should sound. Mm-hmm. So I can feel that there's something that it's not being in that vibration. Mm-hmm. So then I play the ball until I get the correct frequency of that sound.
Okay, so it's very intuitive.
Yeah.
Okay, and so how let's say, I know there are many different types of sound therapies and many different types of clients, but maybe you could talk us through how you structure a sound therapy healing, let's say in a group scenario. How might you do that?
Well, we need to surrender. The first thing and the most important one is that we need to get out of our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Our ego and our mind is not helping to relax, is not helping ourselves to grow, and is not help us to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, in our like mind, for example, now we are having the beta.
Beta waves.
Yeah. So they are fast and they are close one to each other.
Why are we having those now? Because we're having a conversation and those are the types of waves that come out? Or is it because of the time of day? Or
When you are awake and you are in a normal like state mode, you are with these waves. When you are more relaxed, you can shift. So you can turn into the theta waves.
Theta.
So they are the waves that you are having in your brain the time before you go to sleep. So we really need to go to that part to have the healing process. So
very interesting, actually. It overlaps with hypnosis because that's essentially what you want to get. A prime time for self-hypnosis is before you go to bed.
okay.
So you're lying down, and I recommend anyone who's, even if you're not into hypnosis, just try this. You're lying down and you start to enter into these kind of different waves, theta waves, right? And then before you go to sleep, you just say to yourself, instead of saying, I'm going to go to sleep, you say, I'm going to go into a deep trance now. And I will go into this trance for 7 hours. And the purpose of my trance is to clear out some of my emotional blockages with my father. And I will wake up feeling like this. So you're trying to take advantage of this kind of bridge between the conscious and unconscious world where you're almost going into sleep and you say, okay, now unconscious mind, do some good shit for me, please. It's a similar idea. So you try to, the start of it is to get people into this theta wave stage.
Yeah. And I usually guide them through a relaxation or breathing, like simple, slowly. We don't need to do anything so complicated. We just need to find the way to relax our body. And when our body is relaxed, then the mind turns to a more relaxed state. And it's easy. You know, you just need to lay down and do nothing at all.
Sounds like hypnosis.
Okay.
Or you sit up in hypnosis, Jenny, we'll have to figure that out.
It's a kind of effortlessly effort.
An effortless effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where the good stuff is. It's true. Because hypnosis feels like it's an effortless effort in that you're just in your body, you're not actually physically doing anything, but you're actually doing a lot because there's a hell of a lot of stuff going on in your mind and your spirit at that time. Question, how did you get into sound therapy?
Well, I lived in Australia for 10 months, and after that time I had to come to Spain, but I didn't feel prepared to come to Barcelona. And
because just a feeling? Again, you're just based on a feeling or a whole lot of other complications?
I had a really hard time living in Australia.
Because? I don't know if it's very emotional, but just was it the culture or being far away, or is there something in general about it? Or
I don't know what happened. At the end, a lot of Aboriginal people, they explained me that there's a kind of obsidiana stone underneath the place where I was living, and that if you were staying there for a long period of time, it is said that that part of of Australia, it's pushing you to your worst than to rise you.
Wow.
So I was crying a lot.
Sounds like my freezer situation.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry, I shouldn't interrupt you when you were saying I was crying a lot. I go, oh, my freezer. Sorry, you're crying a lot. I'm here.
And I don't know, I was crying a lot. And I felt sad, and I felt kind of depressed. And I'm not that kind of person. I don't usually cry. I'm not sad. I don't know. I'm not depressed. But I was feeling on that way for a long time there. So when I got my recovery, I enjoyed a lot, and I did new friends. So just, when I was in my happiest point and in my higher version of myself, I had to come back.
Yeah. That's the way it works. I call them purple patches. And I'm having a bit of a purple patch now at the moment.
Okay.
You know, lots of good stuff happening, good energy, coincidences and things like that. And the thing about, you know, when you're in your highest self, because we're like growth orientated, we just think that this is the new base.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, this is my basic. I can get even happier than this. Now my
Yeah.
new standard is just deliriously happy, and I'll continue that. And then, you know, life. You know, life comes, and you're so unprepared for it because
Yeah.
we're not mentally trained as well. We're not stoics. You know, it happens, and it's shocking, even though it's obviously, if this is your life,
Yeah.
and you come up to here, what in God's name makes you think that there's any reason? Because, you know, that is life, right? That is frequency, that is change. So,
I love to say that even if healing process is like this,
Mm-hmm.
if you could see closer to that line,
Mm-hmm.
inside that line, you will have this, you know, like
yeah.
structure, more
Yeah.
in a kind of zigzag,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not straight to until the end.
No.
You always will have downs and learnings that even though you don't like that learning and it's making you feel uncomfortable, it's helping you to grow in other part of your life.
I think probably all the people that I really resonate with, now I'm using like sound therapy language, but I guess therapy, all of them have, you see them, like I see you look happy, I see Max, who I spend a lot of time with, or Anthony, these artists, and everybody has like a breaking point, you know, like a dark
Yeah.
point. They have to have the dark point. I was talking to my friend of mine's yoga teacher, same thing. He's like, I don't listen to anybody who hasn't had dark shit go on, you know? And this
Yeah.
is the thing about being young as well. This is one reason why I never really got into life coaching, all this stuff before even I was into it, because I think young people do amazing things, but just having some point where you were like really staring into the abyss of something
Yeah.
forces you to revalue what's important, and then suddenly you see, in your case, I suppose, sound therapy.
Yeah.
Right? And so tell me, what happened then? So you're bound energetically, you're down, and then...
And then suddenly I had a learning, and when I decided to come to Barcelona because I had my trip that was ending, I thought that I had to do something for myself. And I didn't know what to do. I knew that I could do meditation because it helped me a lot, and I started meditating when I was 18 or so. But I didn't feel myself about going to a meditation retreat or so. So I found a yoga studio, and they were teaching a holistic yoga, which is more related to the things that I like, and it's not a one yoga that serves for everyone. It's just that a yoga can be helpful for you if you can understand that the practice is not the same for everyone. You know?
Explain.
For example, could be that I'm not flexible enough, and for me it's difficult just to sit like that. Okay, well, for you, you don't need to do kind of circus positions or yoga that you can read in a book, because your body is not the body of that book.
Okay.
You know?
No, I know. I'm doing a whole yoga course based on this problem, that men's bodies
Are different.
are completely different, and quite fucked from like modern living and sports and things like that. So a lot of stuff you really have to customize and tailor everything you do because of how different
Yeah.
people are. Okay.
So this was the basic part.
So it's
of
the
that
yoga. You found that yoga, and sound therapy was a big
Yeah.
part of that yoga.
Yeah, they were teaching yoga in a way of healing, somatic, and personalized. And after that, of course, during that month, they were giving you like sound healing sessions. But afterwards, you have 1 week to be trained as a sound healer. And then we practice with our boys, with bowls, with gongs, with tuning forks.
What's your favorite instrument?
Boys and
Boys?
and Tibetan singing bowls.
Ah, okay.
Both.
Okay. So why should we? I'm gonna go. I like it. But why would one, because not me, come to your sound therapy class This is where you have to tell, this is the uncomfortable bit where you have to say, because I'm good at something, right? Because otherwise it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense, right? So why would I come to yours instead of someone else's sound therapy?
At first, because of my energy,
Mm-hmm.
you are a channel
Mm-hmm.
when you are working as a therapist and you are facilitating something that is working with energy. So my energy is related to helping others, not in a way that I'm only saying, oh, I'm gonna help you and I'm gonna try to make you heal. Is that I do it for myself every day. So when a therapist is singing the bowls, they are cleaning themselves as well.
Mm.
If you are not clean at all and someone is under your therapy, they will receive your shit. You know?
yeah. I know.
So for me, and the feedback that I'm receiving is that they feel so much different with me, and with other people they are not getting so deep in the relaxation. And the most important part is that I'm a clean person, and I know how to guide people to make them feel better by surrender and by not having expectations.
Mm.
So for me, this kind of therapy is just for brave people that they are not expecting anything, but they want to change. And they want to be the change that they want to have.
Oh, very good. So there's this point, again, I'm always overlapping with the hypno, but in general, in therapy, right, there's something called threshold.
Yeah.
And threshold point is basically where you realize that something has to change, you realize that thing is you, and you realize that it has to be now. And one of the nice things about treatments like sound therapy and that hypnosis is if someone is at that threshold point, then you can easily provide the environment or the
Yeah.
process for them to move forward, right? There are lots of people at this threshold point. You can see it, you see them, you know? Just a little bit of a guidance and then, for me, a non-cerebral process, which that means it's not a rational process that's going to help you. You spend enough of your time
Yeah.
pretending to be rational. Like Einstein said, you know, we can never solve a problem on the level it was created. A lot of problems we have is overthinking.
Yeah.
I'm the first one who overthinks. And we can't fix those problems by, how about you read another book about your problem? Yeah? So how long does a sound therapy session normally last?
The full session is 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. But in that period of time, we have the sound healing, the relaxation part, the explanation. We have everything included. I don't like sessions that they are so long during the time because people, they are not comfortable being 40 minutes laid down without doing anything. And then in the point when they are uncomfy, their minds start to wander. So we go out of that deep state where we want to be.
Interesting.
So 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, depending on the group.
And the therapy session, so that will include introduction, explaining
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the actual sound process itself, how long does that last? Let's say, just out of interest.
For someone who is new, could be 30 minutes, could be more than enough. For an experienced one, with 50 minutes, it's such a
It's a lot.
big trip.
Okay,
Yeah.
very interesting, because in hypnosis, again, it's about the same.
Okay.
45 minutes. It takes about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to get the
get-
relaxed state, and then you have another 20 minutes of the deep change work, and then you have to allow them to come back out without, you know.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So our plan is to combine, which I'm super interested in doing, is to combine sound therapy and hypnosis, which would be very interesting. Hopefully, I think it would be useful for that problem of people not having something to do. In the
Yeah.
sense that with hypnosis, you have instructions and things to be working on, and the sound is more, let's say, carries those messages
Yeah.
in a way that can enter. What I'm really interested in doing in hypnosis and NLP, we do a lot of, I'm going to call it transmutation, where you move, changing sounds to visuals and changing visuals to feelings and moving these around in the body. So that you allow someone to play with their senses, so that once they get good enough at playing with those senses, they can use them to use those senses to tell themselves another story, right? And now the phone is ringing. Sorry, I have to get this. Hola. Hola, ¿qué tal? Ah, sí. Sí, sí. Bueno, no sé, que en el baño, el calandro está arriba. Se ha caído un poco el techo. No mucho del baño, sabes que se ve que hay algo que se está cayendo y no hay algo caliente y justo por encima de esto es donde sale el agua de la terraza arriba y se ve que hay mucha humedad arriba y no sé si tiene algo que ver con esto, pero bueno. No- Creo que puede ser, seguro, o sea, esto estaba antes, ¿no? Que estaba manchado ahí. Ya veo que algo se cayó, me imagino que hay algo que ver con esto, ¿no? Ajá. Sí, sí, sí. No, mira, mira. Sí, sí, lo veo, pero mira, esto no es esto, porque... no, mira, porque el techo se está cayendo, hombre. O sea, se ve que algo se rompió justo donde está el calentador, hay algo arriba y bueno, lo veo así. Eso. Dale, ¿quedan conmigo hoy? Ujú, 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 ujú. Dale, perfecto. Perfecto, dale. Vale, a ti. Gracias. Chao, chao. Perdona.
Very good.
Very good. So someone will come by. Transmutation, was it?
Yeah.
Transmutation, changing sounds and colors. So I'm really interested to see in that. One, that the sound. So in the first 10 minutes of a hypnosis session, you you induce someone into a trance, which is essentially a more relaxed state.
Yeah.
Now, there's very different ways to do this, some complex, some not. But with the sound therapy, I suspect that that's easier. The sounds will allow people to relax, and the words relax much more quickly. And then I'm hoping it'll be very interesting to see if, after we talk, to see if we can, how we can play
Yeah.
with the sounds and the words and the images and these things together. Really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of when you are under the vibrations,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to do anything to get into that state.
Mm.
You don't need to listen any voice. You don't need to do anything,
Mm.
and just the vibration, it's taking you to that higher deep state.
Mm.
So when you combine it with a guidance, with a void
Mm.
guidance, it can help you to go deeper.
Yeah. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
In one of the lines I use in hypnosis, and your unconscious mind
Yeah.
is aware that there's an even deeper level of trance available to you, and it could go there so easily. And then you go bong, and that's literally it. Bong. Cool. So what else? Other than sound therapy, are you fully devoted to sound therapy now, or what are your other interests? Or are you from Barcelona?
I'm from Barcelona,
Okay.
but I lived 2 years abroad, and now I'm kind of thinking, what am I doing here? And I don't know if I'm gonna stay in Barcelona for so long or not, but I'm
Boom.
into the divine timing. I don't know. I'm not looking for anything,
Mm.
and open to receive what it's meant to be.
Super. Do you have anything else you want to ask or contribute to the little podcast? Oh, hi, Adam. So we know each other through, I like to call him my film director. That is not an accurate description at all, but I just like to say it to people. Adam. So hi, Adam. Thanks. Hi, Adam. And so, what projects are you doing at the moment?
Now I'm planning a retreat.
Mm-hmm. Actually, this is a good topic. So, we've got this, there we go. So, Angela, tell us about your retreat.
My retreat, it's in 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm planning to have a kind of transformative experience during the 3 complete days, starting by understanding your unique body and mental type through Ayurveda.
Ah.
And this will be the first point.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we will have a full moon ceremony with cacao, which is a plant medicine that I love. And then we will dive deep during the days with practices as sound healing, of course, yoga, meditation.
Where is the retreat?
In Catalonia, 2 hours from Barcelona, in L'Empordà. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
Links in the YouTube linky thing. Yeah. So I'm into Ayurveda. So tell me about Ayurveda and sound healing. Then is there a relationship between Ayurveda and sound healing specifically, or?
I studied with Chopra, a coaching
Deepak Chopra.
Yeah, a coaching program that they developed. So they combine Ayurveda meditation with that other part of empowering.
I know very well. I went to a massive Deepak Chopra Ayurveda. Well, the seven laws of spiritual success, and this is exactly what. So tell me about it. What do you like about it? What is interesting? How do you use it?
Well, I think I didn't have a very easy childhood, and I was always being a mom of my mom in a unsubconscious way. But I helped so much that I needed. And since I was a kid, I was helping much more others than I should be doing for being a child. So with the time, I was working in marketing, I was working in corporates, but I was always kind of doing therapy to my closer people. And I end up creating a real therapy that I know that I can do, and I've been doing for always. Even I didn't know how to do that, and now it's that I'm collecting all the tools that I love, and I love Ayurveda, so I have a little bit of Ayurveda. I love meditation, I love sound healing, and it's that I'm kind of packaging all the things that help me for my evolution. And I know how you can be from, I don't know, the bottom?
Yeah, from the bottom.
Yeah.
So rock bottom, we call it.
Yeah, okay.
Rock bottom is like, okay, how you go from the rock bottom, yeah?
To the place where you want to be. And by empowering myself and living on that purpose, I know that I can help others in the same situation. And I'm not just, okay, I know how to do yoga, so let's do yoga. No, I have a lot of tools, and I helped you with the tools that you need. For example, if I talk you about meditation and you don't like meditation, okay, then why I'm not gonna help you if I can offer you different things. But Ayurveda for me, it's the main and easy explanation for start and the beginning.
Yeah, actually, that's very much why I like Ayurveda, because it's a very systematic way that gives you a way of looking at people, archetypes and things. It's one of my favorite ones. What are you?
Tridoshik.
Tridoshik. I never heard that said out loud. I mean, so go on. Tridoshik is Pitta, Vata, Kapha.
Yeah.
Wow. So what does that mean?
So 1% of the people is having that kind of body constitution, And it's that I can turn into fire, or I can turn into a more calmer and more watery state, or I can go to a better one, which is more extrovert and more with the flow and more, like flowing and.
Nice. What am I? What am I? What's my dosha? Look at the eye here. I said, whoa.
Well, for sure, it's related to fire and air.
Yeah. She nailed it. That's my interpretation as well. Fire and air. So, what kind of? Actually, talk us through the doshas, if you want. I really enjoy this stuff. So, there's 3 doshas, which are the main archetypes of Ayurveda.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit to us about that?
Yeah, of course. Ayurveda is explaining that you have your innate nature, which is with each characteristic for each nature. So when you were born, you had a characteristic that it's innate to you. And that characteristic is not gonna change during the time. For example, if you were born and you were extrovert, your nature is being extrovert. So in some point, if you were introvert, that is that something is not going properly, and could be that you want to be introvert, but it's not your nature. So if you don't know which is your real tendency, then you can have unbalance in some point, because you are pushing yourself to be someone that you are not. But this is not just, for example, with this example, it could be that you are so mentally and you are trying to be a lot in your body, and you are trying to not think, and you are pushing yourself to not think and not think and not think, but okay, it's your nature. So let's try to find how you can be more relaxed in your mind, but not pushing yourself to be or to live in a way that is not comfortable for you.
That's very interesting. So I had this experience with meditation. I have a lot of experience with meditation. I've done a couple of Vipassana retreats and things like that. And I was doing these half-hour meditations every morning. And I stopped for a month, because I stop everything that I do for a month at some point, just to see how my life changes, so I can see, is that thing actually working or what if I take that out, let's see. And I took out the meditation, and I find that my life improved. My happiness in general improved. Now, partially that's because maybe I wasn't meditating right. That's always a possibility, because this is a subjective process. But it's also because I'm very Veda and fire and wired, So when I sit down to meditate for half an hour, it's like it was a battle against my nature in a sense, because I was also teaching at the time. So I'd meditate for half an hour, and then I go out teaching, and those 2 things didn't work. I was all centered. And my students would come in and they'd be like, Mr. James, you used to be cool, but look at you. I'm like, I am enlightened because I'm meditating. So I stopped the meditation. It doesn't work for me as well as self-hypnosis or yoga or dancing does, because I'm more like this. Yeah.
Well, in Ayurveda, they usually say that opposites balance opposites. For example, if someone is so intense, they need a little bit of calm to be more in their center. If someone is so relaxed, then they need a little bit of fire energy to go to harmony.
Yeah, and I agree. But yoga does that for me. Like when I'm doing, I do yoga every day. I do an hour of yoga every day. That's a kind of in between meditation, something else. It's calming, I am focusing, and it works well for me.
And you have a lot of different meditation types, but it is said that you should sit for half an hour, try to not think, and then this is gonna work. But you can do, for example, active meditation. So you could walk and try to open your 5 senses and try to smell and look and feel something, in your skin, and you are being fully present in that moment living in just that moment. So if your mind is not wandering in other different things or in other ideas, then you are meditating.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that by breathing. Breathing is so powerful.
Dancing.
But it's not just, okay, let's meditate on that way, and if you are not doing this, it's not gonna serve you.
What's well done. What's the thing you're most focused on improving now in yourself? If you had to pick like one, like this is a year of focus for me, for example. You know, I do lots of things, and my effort to focus is to create playful growth and then channel all the stuff through that I like to do through playful growth. So for me, this year's focus, it could be anything for you, but what's the thing you're working on personally that you'd like to improve, or?
I'm very focused in two things.
Mm-hmm.
One is not being so perfectionist. And even if I don't like, when I'm not controlling myself, I get into that vicious circle to pushing myself all the time. So for me, sometimes it's difficult to not being so disciplined, and I just want to enjoy. You know, it's that I work in the mornings, then I work when I finish work in the early morning, then I go with the laptop. Then I reply emails. Then I have my lunch, and then I work until night. You know, and sometimes I don't know how to have time for myself, but I used to have that time for myself, doing the same work, but sometimes I push myself so hard to have my goals done. And for me, it's related to having, I don't know in English, financial freedom. So I'm so focused on that I'm working with a lot of things at the same time, and I don't have time to do all the things all the time. So I'm integrating to have space for myself from last weeks, but I have to push myself to give time for my self-care, and I'm helping others to do that, but sometimes it's tricky.
I think that's well, almost anybody works in some sort of therapeutic setting.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Because there's this balance of if I spend 15 minutes, whatever amount of time is with this person, I could really help them, right? With sound therapy, or if you're dealing with that in general, even just being there to listen to somebody, it's always like, okay, but then if you keep doing that, add another one, then all of a sudden there's no time left, you know, and you quickly become useless as a therapist if it goes on too long, right? What about yoga? You still doing yoga?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your yoga routine? What's your exercise routine? Here's two questions which I'm passing. Your yoga routine and your diet. How do you organize your diet? As in your food, what do you eat?
I eat what I want, when I want.
Felicity, that is. Congratulations.
I kind of follow Ayurveda type, but I don't believe in a lot of things that in Ayurveda says, because at the end, in their origin, they were having a lot of spices because they needed to make to cook food, because they didn't have hygienic conditions, so they were putting a lot of spices just to kill the bacteria. Yeah,
they basically spice things up. Same reason why they put salt on meat or anything. It was just to keep it from going bad, because they didn't have refrigeration.
Yeah.
And it's fucking India, so it's hot. You know?
Yeah, so I try to be logical with myself, and as you were saying with the meditation, I do the same for me with food. I try things. I love cheese, but cheese is not feeling good on my stomach, and every time it's getting worse. But if I want a pizza, I will have a pizza, and I will, like, I know that I'm gonna have a stomach ache, and I don't care. I want a pizza, and I'm gonna have that pizza. And I think
good, yeah.
balance is that it's having I have a healthy lifestyle. I try to not eat sugar. I think it's my only rule. I don't, well, I'm more into salad things, but I like
salted.
Yeah, salted. But I like sugar sometimes, and I try to not eat sugar. But for example, if I go to a restaurant and I see a dessert, as I don't usually eat that, I will have that. And for me, that's the balance. Being healthy, having your strong digestive fire working. So
You got that one really well. You're a digestive fire. That'll do it. Yeah.
So, if you can digest the food that you eat, even if you eat shitty things, your digestive system it's gonna eliminate it.
Yeah.
If you are not having a strong digestive system working on, even if you eat good food, you are not gonna metabolize it. So,
And exercise?
I'm not in my best form.
Yeah.
I like to do yoga,
Yeah.
and in the warming up of my yoga session, it's a kind of a training related to calisthenic or more planks or chaturangas or more like strong and fiery energy. And then I make my yoga practice more relaxed and quieter and
Yeah, you just vary up the yoga process. Right?
And I was thinking to do powerlifting I was doing before, but now I'm lazy to do that.
Because it's powerlifting, right? It says it in the name. I have a question. Where do you see yourself? Like if you had to choose a year's time, where do you see yourself? I know you don't know whether you're staying in Barcelona, but the type of person or the type of things you'd like to be doing, or in 1 year from now.
I see myself living in a peaceful place, doing my work, helping others, doing retreats, doing coaching sessions, sound healing therapies, also doing teacher training for other professionals, and close to the sea.
Barcelona? Not tranquilo enough?
Could be in the surroundings,
Yeah.
could be, or could be in Barcelona, but in a more quiet space. Well,
You can't have this one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I need this one. And have you had profound experiences through the sound therapies that you've had? Have you had is it a gradual process where you do a few, or do you have big changes when you do these sound therapies, or does it work, or how did it work for you?
when I got into sound healing, I didn't know that I was having an improvement until I was having a different life. I didn't expect anything from sound healing or yoga or meditation or whatever I've done in my life. I just started because I felt good doing that thing. I started feeling good when I was meditated, so I studied meditation. I felt good when I was doing yoga, so I studied yoga. I felt good with a sound healing session, so I studied sound healing. I felt good when someone coached me, so I studied coaching. But I did all the process that I'm doing just because I need to know more about things that I feel that they are helpful for me. And I studied a lot of things related with sports that I'm not working with, but I like going deeper in things that I like or that I enjoy. So that's how I convert things.
And you have experience with hypnosis, no? You've done a hypnosis session before, or two?
Yeah.
Tell me about those,
I did
please.
quantum healing sessions with a friend, but she's doing the method of Dolores Cannon. So that sound healing eyes, yeah, that hypnosis healing, it's so different because they are so long in the time. Could be that you have an injury at the beginning, and that injury can last 1 hour, 2 hours, or I don't know, but in my case, I knew that person before. I knew the facilitator, and she was staying with me more than 1 hour. Then she was helping me to develop the questions that I wanted to ask to my higher self. So we end up having kind of 30 minutes or more. The session was more 1 hour, and then she was explaining me a few things that she saw during the session. So at the end, we were for 4 hours.
That happens with sound, and it can happen with hypnosis.
Okay.
So questions, as in the type of questions, higher questions. A big part of hypnosis is also questioning. You know,
Okay.
a lot of it is to do with dispelling beliefs or limiting beliefs. So there's a way of questioning people in hypnosis, which is basically you're essentially saying how do you know that? How do you know that? To really make them question what their brain is telling them about reality. Right? And questions are very important. In hypnosis, the question how is much better than the question why, because how is process oriented in future, whereas why is kind of looking for causes and rationales to explain why you are the way you are. So instead of saying like, why am I so stupid, you ask yourself, how could I be smarter, or how could I have a more enjoyable life? So what kind of questions, when you talk about these higher level questions, what kind of, I don't need the specifics maybe, but what kind of questions do you ask yourself when you're connecting to this higher self?
I asked questions related to my dharma or my devotional path. We were asking questions about hobbies that I liked and I should develop more. We were talking about family, not friends.
How long ago was this? How long ago was
I think 4 hours.
But how long ago was the sound? When did it happen? This.
When?
¿Cuándo pasó este?
Sí. 2 or 3 months ago.
2 or 3 months ago.
And she gave me the recording of the session, so I could hear, or I should hear it more.
How long? Do you?
No.
There's a lot going on, right? So do you have any questions about hypnosis? Or for anything?
Yeah. What do you think you could improve with hypnosis?
In terms of what things can you do? So the two things that are clinically proven to work, like 100%, is pain and anxiety.
Okay.
So in a similar way, you were talking about the way you can control pain using sounds. There's a relationship between that. Hypnosis is very, very good with that because pain is a subjective experience fundamentally, and if it's a subjective experience, there are ways to deal with that particularly. Another one is anxiety, because again, it's relatively easy to put someone into a relaxed state with different hypnotic techniques, right? After that, I find it's amazing the things that you can do, because fundamentally you're working with someone inside their brain, reprogramming it to a certain degree to act and tell themselves different stories. So the potential is unlimited. In terms of using it with sound therapy, I'm very interested, because I think though, like very pure high frequency sounds and things like that do, mixed with like the right hypnotic language, just creates a very relaxing, like I imagine, I hope, an extremely relaxing place for them to use those sounds. Those sounds, I'm hoping, will help them get more control over the power of their mind. They can use those sounds and say, wow, I just turned that fucking sound into a memory, or I turned that sound into a feeling or an idea or a color, you know? And that's why I like about hypnosis a lot, is because it's very empowering. Because it's like, of course you're working with a hypnotist to do things, but you're also giving someone tools in the future to say, hey, and when you get fucking like this next time, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing, right? But I think mainly in terms of the sound therapy, it's just that combination of relaxation and getting them all to a very special place where they can do interesting things. That answers your question. Have you done a normal hypnosis session before? Normal hypnosis session. We could do one if you want. Not now, because it's a long day, but we'll do them for sure.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Why would you recommend hypnosis to someone who is suffering from anxiety and they are so in their mind, so they don't know how to get out of their mind? So it's a kind of that you have to convince them to go to that.
So there's a lot of different ways. You don't have to convince them.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I know.
So there's a lot of different ways, right? You could, I know you know. You get this is the unconscious mind and this is your conscious mind, right? And what you want to have is some sort of connection between those two, where there's, you know, this idea of congruency. A lot of the ideas of aura.
Yeah.
Aura come from
Aura.
this, right? That your heart is electrical and your brain is electrical. But in this, in hypnosis, we have unconscious mind, conscious mind, and in between them is what we call the critical faculty. And the critical faculty is that part that is checking if that seems realistic or not to that person, right? So a kid doesn't have a critical faculty, right? I say there's a pink elephant burning trees outside. He'll go, oh fuck, let's go. And he'll go. Whereas an adult has this developed critical faculty, which is very useful because it's checking and controlling that nothing's fucking you up or no one's lying to you, right? But this critical faculty becomes impermeable. It doesn't let any new information in after a certain point. Just what you're trying to do with hypnosis is to relax the mind and to coax that, let's say, critical faculty, the bit that was question, why? I don't believe it, that can't work, take that out of the way so you can work with the conscious and unconscious mind. And it's fascinating. You know, when you, once you get a person to a very relaxed state with sound therapy or with different methods, lots of methods to do it, that's where you can really do a lot of deep work. Yeah. And like you said before, the thing that makes, like, the reason hypnosis and maybe sound therapy are different, if you go to the gym and you lift weights, you can see your progress over those 2 times. Like the second time you go to the gym, you lift a bit more, and it was like, oh, so it's easy to chase those goals. With something like sound therapy and hypnosis, it's less tangible. It's a very subjective experience, and so people are wondering, oh, but you know, I go to the gym because I get these. I don't know about this one. I would argue that with sound therapy and hypnosis and some other practices like that, having one session definitely makes sense as a minimum experience in your life. It's whatever the price is. I mean, they're not astronomical prices, but in the case of sound therapy, there's a chance, no matter how much you're into it or not, that this thing could do you a lot of benefit, right? And even if you don't really, for whatever reason, don't believe in hypnosis or you're not in sound therapy, you'd probably give it, let's say, somewhere between, like, it's at least 10% chance that this thing will positively benefit your life, right? Even if it's only a 10% chance and you're paying, let's say, for a group class €20, well, that totally makes sense then. You just try something on the chance, if you like, especially if you like the person you have a good connection, that thing might impact you. In the same with hypnosis. Even if you're not 100% by hypnosis, I would still suggest trying it, because fuck, if you can have a hypnosis session that deals with something that's really been holding you back, and even if you only believe it's 20% chance, it's still worth it if it stops you drinking or whatever number of things that is, you know? And so I think it's been clearly demonstrated now where we are that our current strategies for dealing with wellness are kind of fucked, you know? And so I think it's alternative treatments with people, like you mentioned, who have the energy that you connect to. Because I think that's very important. I wouldn't recommend anyone, if I didn't like your energy, we wouldn't be doing this podcast, you know? And I wouldn't recommend anyone going, if you feel anything weird about your hypnotist, yoga teachers out there, masseur for sure, you know, masseuse even, run. So that's why, it makes sense to me on a logical level.
Yeah, for me it's the same, and I, for example, not to, or could be, but I don't work with everyone that it's asking me to come with me, because, for example, I know people that they won't get the real results, for example, about doing a coaching thing, if they are in a victim mode. It's not my work to make people don't be a victim and responsibilize them about the life that they are having.
I like the word responsibilize. It's not a word, but I get it. I mean, everyone gets it. Responsibilize them. I'm going to use it. Let's responsibilize the world. Yeah, but this is good. True, go on, sorry.
And I think we need to be. I'm kind of mixing Spanish, English.
Doesn't matter to me. It depends on the viewers. Well, it's fine. You're making perfect sense with it. Don't worry.
Well, that's it. It's just that.
So you don't work with everybody because
No.
some people are not yet at the point we talked about. They're not at threshold at all,
No.
right? Remember, threshold is I know it needs to change. I know it needs to be now. I know it's me, right? A lot of people have I know it needs to change. I know it needs to be now. But when will they change? When will they change? Right? It's like you're there. You become this echo chamber
Yeah.
for their frustrations,
Yeah.
and they can't see it at all.
And I know the results. I know what I can do. I'm not gonna convince anyone. If you know your worth and you want to improve and you resonate with me, okay, we can do something together. But I'm not gonna convince you about anything. It's not my work. My work is helping with the tools that I'm having, and that's it. Simple. Not more about it.
I had a very similar experience. Hypnotism. So sound therapy is probably sound therapy. People like the sound of sound therapy. Let's be honest. Say sound therapy. You come here, you lie down.
Yeah.
They go. I could do that. When I say hypnosis, they go.
Yeah.
Think you could hypnotize me? I was like, no. If you don't want to be hypnotized, no, because hypnosis is a
Yeah.
similar sound therapy. It's a biofeedback loop. We're
And-
connected with the other person. Like it's not me. It's not okay. Of course, I'm directing and organizing, but I'm not going to hypnotize you do anything unless you want to work with me.
And
If
it's
you
the
don't
same
want to, yeah.
doing a sound healing. If you are laid down and you are thinking, oh, this is not working, what I'm doing here, I'm wasting my time, then of course you will have the vibration and it will be in your physical body, but that's it. You are not going to have any change in your subconscious mind and you are not going to clean any blockage because your waves are being so active. So then like vibration frequency is not entering because there's no space to go. So it's the same.
It's interesting, isn't it? Well, I'm intrigued to see because in hypnosis or in NLP rather, there's different types, similar to Ayurveda, but you have people we call them the representative systems. The representative systems are your eyes, your ears, whether you're auditory, visual, or kinesthetic. And so, for example, according to NLP, some people might not just be as tuned to sound as other people. Some people don't resonate with sound. Some people are very musical and they feel when they hear a song and they go gah, gah, gah. And some people are just not like that. And so one of the ideas of the combination of hypnosis and sound therapies is to try to have a wider spread so that we can have people who are very sensitive to sound and to use also to train them to become more sensitive to sound, which you can do. And then for those who are just not resonating with that, they can still have the visualization process and the kind of the more analog hypnosis over the top. I'm really intrigued to see how it works out.
Wow.
So, do you have any other questions?
No.
Good. I think we're going to turn around, do a little video, Instagrammy one in a second. So, thank you very much, my dear. It's a pleasure. And we will be launching? Starting, hosting, running? We'll be hosting a hypnosis sound therapy session here at Playful Growth, myself and Angela together. More details to follow. Thank you very much. Boom. All right. Okay, it was